A very good morning to you, dear trading community. Today we'll be taking another look at Bitcoin, we'll check out Ethereum, and we'll go through some detailed analyses. We'll also take a look at a few altcoins and the open trades. I have trading bots. What's the current status? What have I closed and what have I newly opened? In fact, I've opened another short crit trading bot on Bitcoin, and all of this is on the Bitget exchange. I'll show you in a moment where my next short positions for crit trading bots will be as well. However, I'm not opening any futures short positions yet. I'll tell you why in a bit, because technically, as we can see, we're actually making higher highs and higher lows. For me, that's still a sign that we can continue to rise. And here we see the first target level after the 1.414, the 1.618, which we reached yesterday with the new all-time high. The next level we could reach is 128,000, 130,000, where I will also open new short grid trading bots. Everything I do here is not financial advice. I'm already cautious now for several reasons. We're talking about a mega parry here. The world is already on edge at the start of the week. We're now building something here on the 4-hour chart that shouldn't be ignored, and we have massive liquidity. The question isn't if it will be taken out, in my opinion, but when it will happen. And I think it could happen with bad news. When everything actually looks fine technically, everything is good with Bitcoin, but we're in a political structure. That's why for me, it's not the time to open a futures short position. What I will do, I'll show in the video. If we really break through and then have a recovery, again, according to my trading system, before we get started, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. It motivates me. For everyone who's new to the channel and doesn't know my trading strategy yet, check it out. Trading Learner, step by step to becoming a pro trader. There I show in detail what I do, for example, how I draw these target zones here, and how together we entered this fantastic trade almost at the bottom with a sniper entry on Bitcoin. But also various other coins, which I'll be sharing with you later on. Additionally, I have the trading bot video where I talk about 100% passive income on autopilot. By now, so many people from the community are already using it and are really happy with it because it provides passive income almost without any headaches. But let's continue now. What do the current positions look like? Let's take a look here. I still have the Ethereum US Tether position open, and I also still have the Grow position open on Bitguard. Crow really doesn't want to move away from its spot. We saw that here as well, got a wonderful entry that was almost at the bottom, but it doesn't want to go above here. I'm curious whether we'll see a little bull flex here and then continue to rise, or if we'll keep getting sold off. We also have a Litecoin trade, which is still in profit, but it's also having a hard time right now, consolidating a bit. We still have the Link trade open. I also didn't take a short position here. As I told you, everything is just too bullish at the moment. That could have been a possible short, but I'm not doing it. But the long position is still open. Here too, the bullish structure has actually been broken. Once again, a retest exactly at this breakout. And here too, we're a bit higher up. But those are all the trades that are currently open. You can also see that here with me on Bitunix. Here we have Litecoin, Link, Ethereum, and the Bitcoin trade. You saw that I also closed it based on the trading strategy I mentioned earlier. There were also some people who joined in and did the same. And then I still have Ethereum in my swing position. What I have here is Ethereum 1x long. I also closed the Bitcoin position here. So here I was also able to take $3,500 from my coin margined position. And with Ethereum, I realized a bit of profit again. At just under $4,600, I took some more profit from this position. And now it has $18,630 in realized profit and just under $4,000 in unrealized profit. Then you can also see my spot sales here, just as I mentioned in the previous videos. I sold a bit more up here and now have an average selling price of $119,667 US. Further down, there are still limit orders waiting to buy back in. But it could be that I change that, depending on what happens in the future. Not only that, I also sold some Ethereum again yesterday, actually sold twice again now. Once at this high, at 4,600, and then again at around 4,660 US. I sold one Ethereum each time. That means I have already realized some of the profits, but I am ready, if we continue to rise, to keep selling gradually in order to push my average selling price even higher. Let's take a look at the analysis. What is very exciting about Bitcoin? Let's take a look together at what could happen regarding the 128,000 and 130,000 US. If we look at this with the whale orders in the spot market, where are the new clusters? Around 128,000 US, the next positions to sell are here at Binance and Coinbase. So just under $128,000 and just under 130,000 US, which once again matches these target zones very nicely. And accordingly, I could imagine that we might go up a bit again, pick up some more, go up a bit again, pick up some more, but my crit trading bots are short. I opened one of them together with you, a small one with $100 US. You know, that has to do with the wallet that I started with $700 and have now traded it up to $1,250 or $58 US by now. All long trades or all long positions have been closed with the exception of the futures DCA, which you can't see here, but you can see here that everything was closed in this case. Here on PIONEX, and I have now positioned myself short with new trading bots. The higher we go, if we reach 128,000 US dollars, I will open another small short crit trading bot, and at $130,000 short crit again. As I recently told you again, my price targets or my price range for crit trading are 150,000 US dollars down to 100,000 US dollars, where I build up my crit. But today we'll also take a look at BNB, because for me, BNB is an absolute shorting opportunity, provided we finally break the structure somehow. Because it's actually been pumping the whole time. What else do we see with Bitcoin right now that makes me speculate on lower prices at the moment? I could be completely wrong. I really could be completely wrong. That's why I say this is not investment advice. I'm just showing you what I do, how I approach things, and you can see all of that completely transparently. But by now we can also see with Bitcoin that we're developing a bearish divergence here. And what could happen now if we don't go down and say, okay, we would go down now, but actually we could, at least that's how I would interpret this divergence, maybe extend it a bit further, go up again, and there maybe reach 28 or even the $130,000. The same could happen with the RSI here, that we go up again and see a new resistance here. That would be a possible bearish divergence that we continue to play out. This is just the 4-hour chart. What worries me much more in terms of a bigger correction, let me clear all this, is a weekly divergence. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to play out. I hope we break through it because, of course, I'd much prefer if everything rises again and I can keep selling off bit by bit. But what we're seeing here exactly from this area is a new bearish divergence that we're currently building. And if we look at this at the candle close, just as we see here, because the RSI works with candle closes, then yesterday, if we take a closer look here, I'll clear all this away so you can see it more clearly. We only ever had candle wicks above this level, including again yesterday, and got a rejection here. But if we don't look at candle closes now and instead focus on the actual candle highs as we have here, then we really have a bit more room to the upside, up to, take a look at this. Almost 130,000 US dollars, and that's exactly what I've marked here, where I said we could perhaps rise to around 130,000 US dollars. But that would mean that on the weekly chart, the RSI would also rise again, and maybe we'd see another retest here at the RSI resistance, and perhaps then move downwards. I want to point out that for me at the moment, aside from the liquidation heat map, and here we're looking at the 1-month chart and also the liquidation map with the massive liquidity lying below us, which has now become so high, exactly this area here, up to about 107,000, 106,800 or so, there is massive liquidity here. We can see that now in the 1-month chart, but we also see exactly this clustered down here in the 3-month chart. If we now compare this with the liquidation map, and I'll scroll down so we have a few exchanges combined, we now have on the 1-week chart 16 billion US dollars, which previously were at 107,000 US dollars, but are now already at 108,542 US dollars. That means here we have 16 billion, and you can see very clearly right on point, there are 16 billion in liquidations lying here. Down to 107,000 US dollars, we're probably already at 17 or 18 billion. I can't say exactly now since I don't have further insight here, but in my opinion, that won't just stay there. That will get taken out. When it will happen, that's the question, but I believe it will happen. But what keeps happening again and again at the moment, you can see here, we're now regularly building up over 1 billion above us in short positions. That means the traders actually want to short the market, and accordingly, I could imagine that it might happen 1, 2, or even 3 more times that exactly this liquidity above us gets taken out again, which could then point to higher prices in this case, so that we pick up liquidity at these higher levels again, maybe even once more at those levels, the market becomes very, very, very bullish, and only after that a possible correction comes. If we also look at the 15-minute chart for Bitcoin, then I want to show you something else that in my opinion must not be broken. There we look at the 200 EMA and SMA, in combination with the fact that ever since we broke above it, but also because the EMA and SMA had a bullish crossover, we've been consistently finding support here. At the moment, we're once again just about to find support at the EMA and SMA. If we break that and also break the next lows, like this low here or this one, then I would slowly but surely lean towards a possible short position. What could that look like? And I've said that as long as we're in a bullish structure, I won't be opening any futures positions. It's too risky for me because we don't know how much further the market will rise. But if we see the following, that we make a new low here, break this low or that low and continue to move down, I could imagine that, for example, we find support at the EMA and SMA, then experience another high, and only after that really go down and correct. That would be my current strategy for a new short position. That means I am not entering during the bullish structure right now. But what could that look like so that we do it exactly that way? Trading strategy, the way I do it, We find support at the EMA or SMA, then recover again, but we've broken the structure here, at least on the 1 hour chart, which we can clarify, and we'll take a closer look at it again on the 4 hour chart. Then we get a retracement to the 0.5 or 0.618, and only after that can it continue downward. That means I don't want to trade against this trend. Absolutely not. At this point, that's too risky for me. Let's take a look at the 4 hour chart. Where would the structure break be here? Exactly, it would be right here. Here once at 122,000, or rather 121,501 US dollars. That would be a structure break to the downside. I could imagine it happening something like this so that we get a recovery first and only then would I go short. Anything else would just be trading against the trend right now, and that's something I absolutely do not want to do. If we compare all of this with the further liquidation heat map and look at it over a 1 month period, where we also have the combined map, so basically what I already showed you what we have here. By the way, let's take another look at the 1-day chart here. Here too you can see that an incredible amount of new short volume is coming in every single day. And now, even just on a daily basis, it's again up to nearly $127,000 here. Once again, that's another billion US dollars potentially waiting to be taken out. That means go up a bit more and then maybe down afterwards. But the more we rise, the more new short liquidations will come in. And this game, how long it will be played so that we might keep seeing new all-time highs to scoop up liquidity before a correction comes. I'm really curious about that. Maybe I'm completely wrong and we're just going to have a parabolic run without picking up any liquidity, or maybe we'll just leave all the level 2 data behind us. I don't really think that's going to happen though, because what would that give us? The opportunity for new entries, and we'll get to that in a moment. Because this liquidation heat map, you can only see it on Binance. It's actually just Binance data that we have here. In Bitcoin, we can see that right now at around $108,000, there's a big cluster, and that's exactly the area I think could be targeted. But perhaps we will also observe something else, and that is indeed something I genuinely want to include here. Because if I were to now remove everything I previously showed or drew earlier, which has not actually happened yet, but which I could certainly see as a clear sign of further bullish momentum, we will definitely see that when we eventually get a correction, a new possible entry point. Because if I now take this low and draw it up to this new high, we have the next possible bullish entry at $115,000 and $117,000, which correspond to the 0.5 and 0.618 Fibonacci retracement levels. That would be this high that we have. I'll quickly draw that in again. That would actually line up almost exactly with this high. And just look at how perfectly this 0.5 entry would be positioned here at this resistance and at the next resistance before we broke through it at this point in time. Or maybe we even use the rectangle here so that we include this cluster here. Sorry, I need to draw that a bit better. Use this cluster here where there was trading volume. I'm sure we'll also see that on the VPVR. That's exactly what I mean here. At this point in time, we can see that this is the point of control, that we dip back in here and maybe go to the 0.618 level. Technically speaking, if we correct, that would be really interesting for me. To test it, 1 or 2 trades. If that doesn't work out, I'll actually only get back in down at the liquidation level where we have it with a new long position. But as I mentioned earlier, I will prepare myself for a short position. Unfortunately, I have to cut this video short. I can't show you BNB and Ethereum anymore because I have to check out. As you know, I'm in Thailand. Today is my departure, and my hotel, or rather the place where we're currently staying, I have to check out now. So, just very briefly in conclusion, last week the ETFs accumulated an incredible amount, sometimes over 1 billion. And yesterday, Monday, it was actually quite weak in comparison, with only 306 million. We'll see how things develop. As for BNB and Ethereum, I'll keep you updated with the morning update video, and I'll also share some updates on Telegram. Don't forget to leave a few likes, comment, and for those who haven't subscribed yet, a subscription would make me very happy.